The day I turned 18, my father threw me out with nothing but a backpack and the words that would fuel my next decade. Get out and make your own way. Since you're so smart, prove it. My crime? Suggesting that Harrison Manufacturing, our family's century-old company, should invest in automation and digital transformation. My father, CEO George Harrison, had erupted in front of the entire board. You think you know better than 3 generations of Harrisons? He'd thundered, while my brother David smirked from his VP chair. You want to turn our factory into some sort of tech playground? I'd spent my entire childhood learning the business, studying engineering instead of business administration like David, dreaming up ways to modernize our operations. But tradition meant more than innovation to the Harrison men. Fine, I'd said, shouldering my backpack. I'll prove it somewhere else. You'll fail, David called after me. You're nothing without the Harrison name. 10 years later, I stood in my penthouse office at Trinity Innovations, watching the sun rise over Chicago's skyline. My assistant Clara knocked softly, carrying the morning's financial reports. Harrison Manufacturing's stock dropped another 15% overnight, she announced. They're desperate for investors. I smiled, thinking of the email I'd received just yesterday, Harrison Manufacturing seeking a merger with my company. Of course, they didn't know Trinity Innovations belonged to me. To them, Trinity was just a mysterious tech giant that had emerged from nowhere 5 years ago. They didn't know that Emma Harrison, the daughter they'd thrown away, had built it from scratch. Their board meeting is today, Clara continued. Your father and brother are presenting their last-ditch survival plan. I picked up the merger proposal they'd sent, remembering all the nights I'd spent sleeping in my car that first year, coding between shifts at a 24-hour diner. The scholarship to MIT that I'd won had covered tuition but nothing else. What time is their meeting? 9 a.m. Their shareholders are getting restless. The company's lost 40% of its market share to automated competitors. Exactly what I'd warned them about 10 years ago. While Harrison Manufacturing clung to outdated methods, I'd built Trinity into a technological powerhouse. Our automated manufacturing systems and digital integration platforms were revolutionizing the industry. My phone buzzed, David calling again. My brother had been desperately trying to reach Trinity's mysterious CEO for weeks. I let it go to voicemail just like all his previous attempts. Ms. Harrison, Clara hesitated. The paperwork is ready. Are you sure you want to do it this way? I walked to the window looking down at the city I'd conquered. They threw me out with nothing, Clara. Told me to make my own way. I turned back to her. So I did. And now they're about to learn exactly what I built. My phone buzzed again, this time a text from my father. To the CEO of Trinity Innovations, our board meeting starts at 9. Please, we need an answer about the merger. The Harrison family legacy depends on it. The Harrison family legacy. The same legacy they'd said I'd disgrace with my modern ideas. The same legacy that was now crumbling because they'd refused to change. Clara, have the car ready at 8:30. I think it's time for a family reunion. The papers are naming it the fall of a dynasty, Clara said, pulling up the morning's business news. Harrison Manufacturing, once Chicago's premier industrial company, faces possible bankruptcy. I picked up a framed photo from my desk, my 18-year-old self, standing proudly in front of Harrison Manufacturing, back when I still believed family meant something. Back when I thought merit mattered more than tradition. Send an email to the board, I instructed. Tell them Trinity's CEO will attend their meeting. Time to show them exactly who they threw away. In my private elevator, I straightened my designer suit, a far cry from the bargain store clothes I'd worn a decade ago. My company badge gleamed, Emma Harrison, Chief Executive Officer. The drive to Harrison Manufacturing felt like traveling back in time. The old brick building hadn't changed, still proudly displaying Harrison Manufacturing C 1923 above the entrance. But the parking lot was half empty now, the once busy loading docks quiet. Market opens in 30 minutes, Clara reported from the back seat. Their stock is in free fall. Shareholders are panicking. I smiled, thinking of the shares I'd been quietly accumulating through shell companies. How much do we own now? 48%. One more purchase and we'll have controlling interest. Perfect. The Harrison family was about to learn that the daughter they'd thrown away now held their fate in her hands. The board's already assembled, Clara added as we pulled up to the building. Your father and brother are making their final pitch to save the company. I stepped out of the car, remembering the day I'd walked out of these same doors with nothing but a backpack and determination. Now I was returning as their only hope for survival. Ready? Claire asked, holding the door. I touched my company badge, thinking of all the nights I'd dreamed of this moment. They told me to make my own way. Time to show them exactly what that way looks like. The Harrison Manufacturing boardroom fell silent as I pushed open the heavy oak doors. 10 years hadn't changed much, same long table, same leather chairs, same oil paintings of Harrison patriarchs lining the walls. But the faces around the table were different now, older, worried, desperate. My father stood at the head of the table mid-presentation. His hair had gone completely gray. David sat to his right, his once smug expression replaced by barely concealed panic. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced, enjoying how neither of them recognized me yet. Trinity Innovations appreciates your interest in a merger. Thank God, one of the board members whispered. We're saved. My father stepped forward, hand extended. Welcome. I'm George Harrison. We've been trying to reach you for weeks. I ignored his hand. Oh, I know exactly who you are. Dad. The room went deadly quiet. David's face drained of color. My father's extended hand began to shake. Emma. Surprise. I smiled, moving to the head of the table, his spot. Shall we discuss how badly you need my help? This is impossible, David sputtered. You're Trinity's CEO? The company that's been destroying us in the market. Destroying you? I opened my laptop, projecting Harrison Manufacturing's falling stock prices onto the wall. No, brother dear. You did that yourselves when you refused to modernize. When you chose tradition over innovation. When you threw away the one person who saw the future clearly. Ms. Harrison, a board member interrupted. Your company owns significant shares of Harrison Manufacturing. 48%, I confirmed. Acquired through various shell companies over the past year. And as of... I checked my watch. 3 minutes ago we just purchased another 5% on the open market. My father gripped the table for support. You now control our company? Controlling interest, yes. I sat in his chair, enjoying how he automatically stepped back. The same company you said I'd never understand. The same company you threw me out of for suggesting exactly the changes you now desperately need. David jumped up. This is revenge. She's going to destroy everything our family built. Sit down, I snapped, my voice cutting through his panic. The only thing being destroyed is your outdated way of thinking. Trinity Innovations doesn't acquire companies for revenge. We acquire them for profit. Clara distributed folders to each board member. Our analysis of Harrison Manufacturing's weaknesses and our proposed solutions. The same solutions Ms. Harrison suggested 10 years ago. Automated production lines, my father read quietly. Digital integration. Smart factory systems. Everything I presented on my 18th birthday, I confirmed. The ideas you called childish fantasies. The modernization plan that got me thrown out. The board members flipped through the documents, murmuring in approval. They could see what my father couldn't, that Trinity's plan would save their investments. You can't do this, David tried one last time. We're family. Family. I laughed. Was I family when you smirked at my ideas? When you watched Dad throw me out? When you said I was nothing without the Harrison name? I stood, walking to the window overlooking the factory floor below. Ancient machinery clanked inefficiently, exactly as it had a decade ago. The merger will proceed, I announced. Trinity Innovations will acquire Harrison Manufacturing. We'll modernize the facilities, upgrade the systems, and bring this company into the 21st century. And us? My father asked quietly. What happens to us? I turned back to face them. David, you're fired. Clear out your office by end of day. I smiled at his shocked expression. Consider it karma for all the times you called me a naive little girl. You can't dash. I can and I am. As for you, Dad. I paused, letting him squirm. You'll be offered a position as a historical consultant. No authority, no decisions, just sharing the company's heritage with visitors. Since tradition means so much to you. The board members tried to hide their relief. They knew Trinity's reputation for turning failing companies around. One more thing, I added. The company name will change. Trinity Harrison has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Though my name will come first this time. My father sank into a chair, decades of arrogance crumbling. When did you become so ruthless? The day you threw me out with nothing but a backpack and a challenge to prove myself. I gathered my things, nodding to Clara. Consider this mission accomplished. As we walked out, David called after me. You think you've won? That you're better than us? I stopped at the door. No, David. I proved I'm better. Check Trinity's stock price if you don't believe me. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Harrison Manufacturing's transformation began immediately. Modern robots replaced ancient machinery. Digital systems streamlined production. Everything I'd envisioned at 18 became reality. My father watched it all from his new office, a small room filled with company memorabilia where he gave tours to visitors. Sometimes I caught him staring at the factory floor, watching his old world disappear. David, I heard, took a job at a much smaller manufacturing company. Entry level, of course. No one wanted to hire a VP whose company had failed so spectacularly. 1 month after the takeover, I sat in my old father's office. My office now, looking at the portrait of my grandfather that still hung on the wall. You'd be proud, I told his stern face. The company's not just surviving anymore. It's leading. Clara knocked softly. Your father's here. Says he needs to talk to you. He entered hesitantly, looking smaller somehow. The changes. They're working. Production is up 40%. I know. I didn't look up from my work. That's what happens when you listen to good ideas regardless of where they come from. He shifted uncomfortably. Emma, I was wrong. Yes, you were. Is that all? I wanted to say I'm sorry. For not seeing your potential. For not believing in you. I finally looked at him. No, Dad. You did me a favor. You told me to make my own way. So I did. I built something bigger than Harrison Manufacturing ever was. And now. I gestured to the modernized factory below. Now I own your way too. After he left, Clara brought in the latest financial reports. Trinity Harrison's stock had doubled since the merger. The business world was calling it the innovation revolution. I picked up my old backpack, kept in the corner of my office as a reminder. Inside was still the crumpled presentation I'd tried to give 10 years ago, outlining my vision for the company's future. Make your own way, I whispered, remembering my father's angry words. Well, Dad, I made it. And I bought yours too. Sometimes success isn't just about proving others wrong. Sometimes it's about proving yourself so right that they have no choice but to work for you. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's about sitting in your father's chair, running his company better than he ever did, and knowing that the daughter he threw away now signs his paychecks.